Here's how this works. Water, salt, and pepper, those are freebies. Your pantry, it better have flour, oil, vinegar, mustard, and garlic. Beyond that, you'll only need 5 more ingredients and 25 minutes to put an entree or entire meal on the table. So, shop, set the clock, and let's dish out. Our 5 ingredients this week are some steak. I'm using prime New York strip, but use the cut of your choice. 1 bundle of chives, green onion's best friend. Some good blue cheese, 2 russet potatoes, and some unsalted Irish butter or butter of your choosing. First thing we're going to do is get to work on our air fryer fries. And for that, we're going to cut these 2 russets into 1/4-inch sticks. We want them to cook pretty quickly and get a nice little crust on the outside. If you do not have an air fryer, you can do these in the oven, but they may take a little longer than 20 to 25 minutes, fair warning. As I said, go ahead and cut those down into 1/4-inch sticks. Leave the peel on, it's rustic, and really I enjoy the flavor and texture. Once you've got those into a large bowl, we're going to give them a generous glug of olive oil, probably a tablespoon or so per potato, so 2 tablespoons for this application. From there, we're going to season them up with salt and give them a vigorous toss. You really want to make sure all those potatoes are coated in the olive oil so that they fry in the air, however that works. Anyways, arrange them in your air fryer basket. Try and keep them in a single layer as much as possible. Depending on the size of your air fryer, you may only be able to do 1 at a time. I did about 1.5 of my medium-sized russets right here. Pop those in, set the temperature to its highest setting, usually that's 400 degrees, and give them 15 minutes. While those cook, we can start on our blue cheese and garlic compound butter. This stuff is amazing. You could put it on shoe leather and it would be tasty, I do believe, although I haven't personally tried it. Since that butter is unsalted, we're going to season it up with salt and cracked black pepper. My butter wasn't totally room temperature, but it was at least a little bit softened, so I'm going to go ahead and work that salt and pepper in so it's evenly distributed. If you're working with fully room temperature butter, this will be quite easy. You could also use a food processor. I'm going to crush into that 1 clove of garlic. That's from the pantry, of course. It's going to bring extra flavor to the party. Go ahead and mince up 1 whole bunch of chives. We're only going to add about half of it to our compound butter, but the other half we're going to save for a garnish at the end. And finally, you're going to crumble in as much blue cheese as your heart desires. This is a 4-ounce wedge and I added about half of it, so I'm going to say anywhere from 1 to 3 ounces of blue cheese is probably just fine. If you don't like blue cheese, you can skip this step, but you should like blue cheese. Using a fork or a spoon, go ahead and combine all of those ingredients together and set that aside in the fridge until you're ready to use it. That'll keep for about a week, by the way. As I said, shoe leather, anything, it's good on it. Now we'll turn our attention to our steak. I have here about a 1-pound New York strip steak. It is prime, it is beautiful. All that marbling and fat is going to mean tons of flavor in our finished product, but we have a little more fat than we need, so I'm going to cut off some of that fat from around the exterior of the steak. This is a big piece of meat, so season it generously with salt. Go ahead and rub that steak around on your cutting board, push that salt into the surface, and please make sure your steak is very dry. We want to create a nice crust on the outside, and that just can't happen if there's a lot of moisture and beef juices on the outside of your meat. So, salt it generously, work that onto all surfaces of the meat, and now we're going to add a couple tablespoons of olive oil from our pantry to a skillet over high heat. Once that oil is hot and almost smoking, put the steak into the skillet, push it down so it makes really good contact, give it a couple turns here and there. You want to let this go for about 3 to 4 minutes until you get a nice golden brown crust on the one side. Give it a flip, and after a minute or 2, we're going to park this in a 400-degree oven until it is cooked through to our liking. After 15 minutes, those are your potatoes. They're cooked at this point, but if you want them extra well done and crispy, pop them back in for 5 more minutes. Our steak is now cooked through to medium, the temperature I was going for, so let's check on our fries. Beautifully golden brown and crispy. One thing left to do, and that is plate these bad boys up. Now, a lot of that salt is going to fall off while you're cooking and shaking them around in the pan, so we're going to go ahead and season these again, this time adding a little cracked black pepper and a little pinch of sea salt. Add your steak to the plate. Give that a seasoning with some pepper and a generous dollop of that blue cheese, garlic, and chive compound butter. Garnish with your chives, and we are just about ready to indulge in this delightful dish that came together in only 25 minutes. I like my New York strip cooked medium, but if you want it medium rare, just pull it out of the oven a little sooner. That is beautifully blushing and pink. Super juicy. That fat is so unctuous. I mean, if you like steak, you're gonna love this recipe. It's simple, it's fast, that blue cheese really cuts through all the richness and fattiness of the meat with that tangy, funky flavor. And of course, you've got that lovely little butter sauce in the bottom of your plate to dip your fries in. I hope you'll make this. I know you'll love it if you do, but no matter what you do this week, please go make something delicious. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got to finish this steak.